PlayStation 5 game streaming for PS Plus premium users is now finally live on PSN in Japan. We do still have to wait until October 23rd for Europe and then October 30th for North America, but for right now, it's live on PSN in Japan, and so we'll do a very early, quick look, first impressions, things like that, which, caveat here, of course, I'm located in North America, and so while I have suspicions in terms of how this is going to work, I don't want to make assumptions based on what data center I'm pulling from and things like that. So depending on how this goes, we won't be judging it too harshly, but we'll get a quick look at the functionality, which I'll also do a very quick internet test, show you the speeds I'm working with. As a reminder, this is for PS5 games, so that's the new thing about this, but not only can you finally stream PS5 games instead of just PS3 and PS4, but you can also stream them at 4K up to 60 frames per second, which based on that, it's going to be highly dependent on your internet speeds. So on the very low bare minimum end, Sony does recommend at least 13 megabits per second for 720p, but if you do want to go up to 4K, then they are recommending at least 52 megabits per second. That is something where, depending on your local ISP, that may or may not be possible. I have 315 down, so in theory, we're looking good. And I will also tell you, I'm testing via wireless. I will always test via wireless first. Everyone does know that a hardwired Ethernet connection is better and more ideal, but I will always remind people, if these multi-billion-dollar companies want to push this streaming future, then it has to work under wireless conditions. So that's why I will always we're testing wireless. Having said that, let's go down into the PlayStation Plus menu here, tab over, and there it is right there. So streaming games, and this is where I think that will be the catalog, the full list of games. Just a handful of titles that are listed by, what would this be listed by? Sort of dates that they were added or something, I would imagine, right? So, because here's the problem is that I've explored a little bit already, and there's no way to sort of filter out all the PS3 and PS4 stuff to the point where I can only see the PS5 games. I want to get a sense of how many PlayStation 5 games are available, but here we can only do by genre, and these are, again, sort dates by availability, when it was added and things like that. So, because before, if you're streaming or if you're looking through the catalog, you'll always have these PS4, PS5 labels for cross-gen games. Those were always there, right? And so if you did stream a game with that little label on there, you're always streaming the PS4 title. But the difference now is that you can stream PlayStation 5. And I've checked the Japanese PlayStation site. There's still no definitive list here. And this is where it gets a little bit more muddy because in terms of the availability, it's not only games in the PlayStation Plus game catalog that comes with your premium subscription, it's also the game trials, which is likely the most ideal scenario for why you'd want to stream games, stream PS5 titles to only a PlayStation 5. That's been the number one question I've, seen thus far. And, so the trials would make sense. You can just immediately test it out before committing to the full download. And of course, over time, they'll naturally roll this out to at least PC in the short term and then possibly smartphones and things like that. But there's that. The other one is you can just stream games that you digitally own that are not a part of the PS Plus catalog. But the problem is I'm obviously testing from a Japanese account, and I have no PS5 titles that are purchased from this account, so I can't, validate right away. If I had a library of games that are able to be played, I can't see that, obviously. So we're only working from the catalog right now. But that Japanese Jak and Daxter art. All right, well, it's the same key art, but the text. All right, let's jump into a game here. Ooh, okay, that's the Jak 2 art. We're getting off track. Let's do Spider-Man Miles Morales. So right up front, considering Spider-Man 2 is coming very soon, launching it. We're doing it right away. It looks good. I feel like text is like the sort of immediate way you can spot streaming artifacts. All right, Miles Morales main menu. The Marvel icon has some streaming artifacts immediately. Yeah, the text is a little... Yeah, you can spot it for sure. I mean, it looks substantially better, obviously. So if we pull up the streaming card here, we do have max resolution set to 2160. You'll need to restart. Okay, you'll need to restart or relaunch the app just to change the resolution. Troubleshoot. And then we could view it in the store. Yeah, very bare bones options. Not much else to really look at there for the streaming card. Or you can just download it immediately, which is funny how they they just put that up front and center. Oh, graphics mode set to fidelity. Switch that to performance. Apply and restart. A little slight jitter there. Oh, okay. I'm only minutes into swinging, but gameplay's fluid. Feels good. Have not seen any sort of streaming blocky artifacts. The ones that really stick out. It's jittered a few times so far, but it looks really clean. You can still make that difference out, though.
Okay, go time.
Every so often there's like a little splotch or something that kind of jitters the picture quality a bit. Yeah, it's coming up pretty frequently during cinematics. I feel like there's a bit of input latency, but it's like it's still fine. It's hard to say. It's very slight if it's, well, it's definitely there for sure, but yeah, a little slight jitter there. The image quality is really nice, but under certain colors, I think, show it a bit easier. All right, going back to the menu here, if we check out this section, it's basically just explaining the things we already went over. It's like a promotional page, so you can download and it's not going to take up storage and this and that, right? So, but it's these columns right here. So that's the game catalog. We just looked at some of these games, but down here would be the trials, and that's like the best use case for this right now, right? Is that, you know, some of these trials you can activate right away and start playing, and so like Cyberpunk is 155 gigabytes, and so even though you only need to download a portion for most of these games to launch them, it's still something where you're going to be downloading a full build. And for the rated Zero games, I can't actually start those. I'd have to like put in a credit card or something. But like Sonic Frontiers, I just tried this, and sure enough, you launch it. It is going to tell you how much time you have left, like any other trial, but you don't have to download anything. It's just going to start. And for the starting time, it seems like it's very close to how long it takes for this initial screen, where it's sort of matchmaking you with a system in the cloud that you're going to be streaming off of. But once you're past the screen, then obviously they're PlayStation 5 titles naturally. So from that point, they load very quickly. So that's like the key difference, right? Like PS3 stuff takes forever to get into. PS4 is a little bit better, but even then, once a PS4 game is launched, like the remote PS4 that you're streaming from, it's still like at that point you're dealing with PS4 load times and all that. So generally you're in these games a lot faster, right? I'm already at the main menu. Yeah, Frontiers looks okay. Sonic also has what feels like input latency that was probably a little worse than Spider-Man, but that might just be due to the nature of Sonic being a faster feeling game. And Returnal is supported, right? What? Downloado? Oh, I can't stream Returnal. Are you bastards. Like, can I stream this? Yeah, I can stream this. Tekken 6, the PSP classic that just dropped. And I would presume it's going to stream the PlayStation 5 version, which is like, no, it's streaming the PS4 one. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't even know which version you're going to get. This wouldn't matter, obviously. It's a PSP emulated title, but that just kind of gets into what I'm talking about here. I want to know how many PS5 games are actually supported, right? So that one is a no. Unpacking. Let's try it. Oh, no, can't do that either. That does not have a stream. Oh, there it is. Streaming. Oh, okay. It's asking me. All right, there we go. So that one has the streaming option. Yeah, it's like you just have to look for them. Well, now you're going to have to look for them. So it's really just a matter of picking something and seeing if it's an option. That one, it just did it immediately, so I didn't get the pick. It's PS4. Sea of Stars just came out. Stream, PS4. Okay, Maneater. Did you throw the PS5 one on there? Yes, you did. Okay, that one has a streaming option. How about this one? Yep, can stream that. All right, because I'm just manually checking each one of these, and a lot of them are offering me the PS5 version finally. So I think it is reasonable to say that there's a good amount of titles that are being offered, but I can't check games that are not on PS Plus. It's like if they were right next to me, I think what I can say right now is that obviously you're going to prefer the native version and it will look like the difference will be there if they're right in front of you, but so far it's not just playable, like it's you could get through the whole game like that and not be like completely bothered by it. That looks fine. It's a very beautiful, brightly colored, sharp looking image. I wasn't really expecting this, but Sackboy looks incredible. Well, I can say Ratchet looks really good still. My God, man. I'm impressed. I will say it. It looks... Wow. Yeah, this feels great. It feels good, looks good. Man, I'm not gushing over it, but like, you could play a game like this no problem. Yeah, it's like... I have to look for imperfections in the image, you know? Ratchet with so much... Like, it's very brightly colored, a lot of particle effects. I'd be curious to know what... I mean, Sony has not really talked at all about the development of it, which is kind of a bummer. I'd like for them to, you know, maybe tell us more about the server blades that they built. And if there's any sort of, like, proprietary stuff in-house that they're, you know, really leaning on to accomplish this stuff, which you have to figure they are, outside of all the sort of industry standard developments we've seen in recent years, since they made the most recent, well, before PlayStation 5, their most recent server blades were PS4, right? And those were largely unchanged as far as I know this entire time. So I wish they were a bit more candid in terms of the process they did to get to where they are now, because it's impressive. This is like really good for the initial few titles I've tried out in maybe an hour and a half of gameplay. All right, we'll end it off there, and yeah, so far so good. I mean, I'd like to see the North American launch, and that's where I'll spend a lot more time trying stuff out, and probably just play games that way, quite frankly, and just really give it a college try. And that's also where we can actually dive into game catalogs and get a more thorough view of, okay, how many games are actually supported, and, you know, games that are outside of PS Plus as well. But until then, that is it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next one. You take it easy.